Hello my darlings, welcome to the video. Today I want to talk about magic. more specific, more specifically, certain types of magic according to your own zodiac sign. Because let's say you are an Aries rising and you want to manifest something in a certain area of your life. Well, you can follow general magic practices, to say so, or you can get very, very specific. You can go to your birth chart, target that area of your life. Let's say you want to manifest more money. So that would be your second house. And for Aries rising is the easiest because Aries rising is the natural horoscope, so the houses have their natural signs. So the house of money equals the sign of money for an Aries rising. It's the second house and Taurus, both of them rule money. Now for other signs, for other risings, it is a bit different. Because let's say you're a Gemini rising, so you want to manifest more money. This means that you look at your second house, which is Cancerian energy. You can also target your Taurus house, because Taurus also rules money, but for a Gemini rising, that's the 12th house, so it's not that much about money. So that's why houses are so important. So it's essential that you look at your birth chart and you can take your rising, your moon, and sun sign as starting points. You can manifest using each one of these charts. So you can manifest using your birth chart, which is with your ascendant, the rising sign, as the first house. You can also manifest with your sun sign as the first house. And this also works quite well because the sun is energy that goes outward. But you can also use the moon chart, the sign of your moon, in case you have a different sign. Because if you're born at a new moon, you're lucky because your sun sign and moon sign are the same. So you only need two charts: the rising as the first house and the sun moon sign as the first house. But for other people that are not born at a new moon, you have three charts. You have the first house as the rising, and then the sun sign as the rising, and then the moon sign. Sorry, not as the rising, as the first house. And then the moon sign as the first house. If you're a woman, you're using your moon sign chart is very powerful as well. Now, using your sun sign chart is powerful for everybody because we are living in a time when humanity needs to understand solar energy better. During the falling ages of humanity, the time when humanity descended from spirit into materiality, I have a video about that. You can check it on my channel. It's about the full history of humankind, and you can have a better understanding of that. So for the falling timeline of humanity, when humanity descended into materiality, it was the moon sign that was a lot more important than the sun sign. And that's why a lot of ancient astrology techniques use the moon sign rather than the sun sign. Today, the sun sign is more important than the moon sign because humanity is on an ascending path from materiality back into spirit. So the sun, the sun is masculine, the sun is about manifesting. So the sun sign is important for everybody. And I repeat, if you're a woman, the moon sign is more important for you than it be for a man. But then again, if you're a man, this doesn't mean that the moon sign is to be ignored. Okay, so this is the introduction. Now, this is not just for chart magic or house plus sign magic. You can also use this if you're a beginner. You can also just use, let's say again, the example of money. You want to manifest more money. You can start just by working with Taurus energy and understanding money energy and perform magic practices according to that energy and work with Venus. But eventually, the more you dive into that energy, the more it will direct you to where it is in your chart, and the more it will amplify its blueprint according to its placement in your birth chart. So let's say you're a Libra rising like me. Taurus energy is our 8th house. So you need to understand the nature of the house as well, where the sign is. And all the techniques I'm gonna teach about work for signs and planets. So whether you want to work with a house, a sign, a planet, or you want to work with a house and a sign, or a sign and a planet, or all three of them, you can apply this knowledge. Okay. Also, what I'm teaching here functions as remedy techniques. So in astrology, there are things, sometimes people have bad placements, and that energy tends to manifest itself in their life in a more negative way. Let's say conjunctions that are tense conjunctions with planets that don't really like each other, or squares or oppositions in your birth chart. These are things that need a lot of work and or a lot of effort. So throughout time, there have been astrologers that talked about remedies for such bad placements. I didn't quite like the term remedy, but you can use that term remedy. Essentially, what that energy asks of you is to look at it and properly integrate it. So, before you do any kind of magic, any kind of practice, my advice is to really sit down, learn a lot about that energy, those things, those signs and houses and planets, and if you want to meditate on that and think about how it's been manifesting in your life and really look at it. And sometimes, 90% of the times, whenever people have bad placements, is because of things coming from their past lives. So that's also something to look at, and starting with that, you can progress. Especially when we're talking about karmic placements. But essentially, all placements are karmic, in both good and bad ways of the word karmic. All right. Okay. And just like I said, the most important thing whenever you start practicing any kind of magic on your birth chart or with your birth chart, the most important thing is to understand that energy. So that's why I advise to first of all really commune with that energy and that deity. So for Aries, it's Mars. It's planet slash god Mars. For for Libra and Taurus, it's Venus. For Gemini, it's Mercury, and so on. And the more you do that, the more you evolve, basically. And only after you already have that intimate relationship with the sign, with the energy, with the planet ruling that sign, you can actually go further and use your free will in conjunction with that, so that you can manifest beautiful things into your life. And I also advise you to have strong relationship with your ruling lords. So when I say ruling lords, I mean the lord of your rising, the lord of your sun sign and moon sign, and also to look at the most powerful planets in your chart. Because these are the guys you need to work most with. These are the guys that will always be on your side, basically, and they are part of your spirit team. So, just kind of put yourself in their shoes. If you're part of someone's spirit team, it'd be nice if they get to know you. It'd be nice if you really have a relationship with them and you really are close. Because it's one thing to be part of someone's spirit team and help them from that place, but they don't know stuff about you. They don't know you're there. They just don't know. It's, it's still nice, but it's even more beautiful when they actually know you. Each planet that is strong in a birth chart is actually part of your spirit team. And like I said, it's the Lord of your rising, the sun sign, the moon sign, and the most powerful planets in your birth chart. And there's a certain technique of seeing which are the most powerful planets in your birth chart. You can consult an astrologer for that, or you can go on certain websites on the internet that do that for you, so that you can see which planets are the most powerful, so that you can work with them. Alright. And not just work with them, but also honor them. Because, like I said, it's one thing to only perform magic and try to manifest and all of that without honoring the being you work with and the being you try to manifest all of that through. And a whole other thing to do that after you have already built that relationship with them, cared for them, and really communed with them and honored them. And indeed perform worship practices, which don't have to be complex, and you don't have to follow certain rules for that. There's no such thing as a rule in terms of worship. You can just build a beautiful shrine, a beautiful altar for the beings you work with, and just do whatever you feel like. Offer them whatever you feel like at first. And then the more you learn about them, the more you're able to understand what they like and offer them, and offer such things as, let's say, Venus is the goddess of beauty and food and money. Well, you can offer such things on her shrine, and so on. Okay. So, let's start with Aries. I have a few things here, as you can see, and each one of them is for a certain sign. So, for Aries, first of all, I'll read you a few notes about Aries energy. So, Aries is all about I don't need a note. Aries rules the I am energy, the I am notion, the identity. And so is the first house. So basically what I'm gonna talk about here is the natural zodiac. So when I say Aries, I also mean the first house. Even though there are certain things that Aries rules that the house doesn't. I'll mention those. But essentially, I'm talking about the natural zodiac here. So the sign equals the house. If you don't have a natural, so if you're not an Aries rising, you have to extract the meaning from there and then couple the meanings. So let's say you have Aries in the 11th house. So this means that you have to use Aries energy through the lenses of the 11th house, and so on. Okay, so basically Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the I am. It's how you come into being. That's the first house. How you come into being, into this identity that you have. Aries rules the I am, rules the body and the muscles especially. So first of all, movement, any kind of movement. You can work with Aries energy and like literally do magic while moving your body, but not like moving your body in terms of just taking a walk. No, that's more like for Sagittarius or Gemini. Aries movement, it's really energetic, so it's like a really sport, any kind of sport. But ideally it would be yoga and or martial arts. Martial arts are big for Aries. If you perform any kind of martial arts and you have strong Aries energy, you'll see how much that benefits you. Actually, that's the only way you can be attracted to martial arts. If you have strong Aries and or strong Mars energy. People who don't have that are just not attracted to martial arts. That's it. So if you have been attracted to that, that's one of your clues. You have strong Aries energy, go do it. Any kind of martial art. And the more you do it, the more you realize how much that helps you. And for Aries energy, it's always important to be in the I am space. And whatever you manifest and whatever you want to do in your life, it always starts with I am. It always starts from I am. So I was giving the example of manifesting more money. If you have strong Aries energy, or if you have Aries in your second house, then the affirmation is I am wealthy. I have money works as well, but not as powerfully as I am wealthy for Aries energy. Because that's what Aries is the I am. It's the me. So affirmations that start with I am, using your identity. If you want to write down your manifestations and intentions, it's best that you also write your name as well there. You can just start the writing down of your intentions as I am name, I am wealthy, I am powerful. Actually, it'd be best if you start with the Aries qualities and then the other qualities that you want to bring in your life. So I am name, I am strong, I am energetic, I am courageous, I am this, I am that, I am wealthy, which is not that much of an Aries energy, but that's what you want to attract. So the more you amplify your own Aries energy, your native energy, the more you can also come in other energies. And this applies for all other signs. Okay, Um, okay. Putting yourself first is a must for Aries energy, and it just comes naturally. So if ever you feel like, guilty for being selfish or stuff like that, don't be. Just don't be. Just think of yourself. Obviously, this doesn't have to be like affecting others in a bad way. Alright. Now, in terms of elements that you can use in your practices, things that are red things. Aries rules the color red. Mars is the red planet, so you get it. You can wear red clothes whenever you want to manifest, whenever you want to do any kind of magic on yourself, and this is another very powerful thing. Well, basically, everything I'm teaching here is just magic on oneself. Or let's say you manifest with your partner. But that's still kind of like personal magic. I'm not teaching magic onto someone else. That's not what I stand for. Okay. Performing magic on other people, it's really risky, and there are a lot of karmic implications to that. You have to really be careful and responsible in terms of how you do that, and just it's better to not waste your life force energy for others. Use it on yourself. Okay, so red things, you can wear red. One important thing, and this also goes for all signs, whenever you perform any kind of magic, any kind of ritual, any kind of spiritual practice, wear natural fabrics. Nothing synthetic, please. And fire. So this is particularly appropriate for Aries energy, because what I have here is a red candle. So you can use fire a lot in your magic practices, and you can write your intentions down with the I am energy, and then you can burn them so that you can use the spirit of fire to manifest them, to bring them into fruition, and then you can go out and have a little, do some yoga, or do some sport, or just movement, perform martial arts if that's what you're into, and that will work wonders for you if you have strong Aries energy. If you don't have strong Aries energy, but you want to manifest things in the Aries area of your life, this exact recipe that I described, it's not going to be so powerful for you. You can skip the movement part. Especially if you have signs that are more lazy, you're not gonna enjoy the movement part so much, so it's not worth it. The movement part is essential if you really have that kind of strong Aries energy that makes you really enjoy that. And basically what that does, what I'm talking about here is conscious movement. And conscious movement, whether it's yoga or some kind of martial arts, but bringing them into spirituality. What that does is activate your Kundalini. And Kundalini activation is not something that you do once and then that's it. That's what a lot of nowadays people and all those spiritual influencers talk about, and they're like, Kundalini activation and then that's it. No. Kundalini activation is it's very powerful when it first activates in a lifetime. Yes, because that's when it first activates in a certain lifetime. But that's not the only time you must do it. Kundalini movement is something that the yogis do every day. That's why they do yoga. To move their energy throughout their energy centers, their chakras, on a daily basis. To keep their Kundalini awakened. That's what they do it. This whole nowadays thing of like Kundalini activation, one session and that's it, and you have to pay for that. Bullshit. Maybe it helps you activate the Kundalini at first, but then what do you do with that? You just go back to your office? This is why it's important to study the ancient practices properly. Because I see a lot of people nowadays who are just so nowadays type of people. Spiritual, but very nowadays type of spiritual. With no idea of ancient knowledge and ancient practices that are more loyal to spiritual truth. Okay, so movement, conscious movement, that's what it does. It keeps the Kundalini active. And that's obviously beneficial for you in all ways. And you can use that for your manifestations, for your spells. Okay. So this is kind of like Aries in a nutshell. Aries energy. If you have Aries in the first house, it's more amplified because it's the natural place for Aries energy. So you really be wild with such practices. Again, use red, use fire, work with Mars, use martial arts, and stay active, physically active, use your muscles. And Aries also rules sexuality. So, yeah, sex magic. Yes. Sex magic is for everyone. But it's particularly amplified for people who have strong Aries or Scorpio or Venus signs like Taurus and Libra. Maybe even Leo, maybe even Sagittarius. In a way, even Gemini can do really nice sex magic, but that's it's very unique for Gemini. I'll talk about that when we get to Gemini. But sex magic in itself, sex in itself is ruled by Mars. Thus, Aries and Scorpio are the most potent in terms of sex magic, and if you have a strong Mars and or a strong Pluto in your chart, extra mega super bonus points if you have an aspect between Mars and Pluto. If you have an aspect between Mars and Pluto, you're a menace. In terms of magic and sexual magic. So have fun. And you can incorporate these elements in the order that I described, like You can start with the easy ones, the lighter ones, like using the affirmations, the I am affirmations, and then gradually get more intense, incorporate the movement, and eventually use the sexual energy. Okay. And when we're talking about the affirmations for Mars energy and Aries energy, also always use the keywords by my own free will. This is the free will universe. We're all meant to use that in the free will universe. But Aries in itself and Mars rule exactly that, the free will. So Mars, me, the sense of me, and will. My own free will and my own power of will. Now, in terms of phrasing, for Aries, it's a lot more powerful if you use the term by my own free will. And for Scorpio, it's a lot more fit and a lot more according to Scorpio energy if you phrase it by my own power of will. Because Scorpio is the sign of power, personal power, that is internal and it's spiritual and it's intense. Aries is a bit more external. It's fiery. It's a masculine sign. So that's why I advise you to use to more likely use the term by my own free will. There's a little spider that's coming down. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. There's a little spider that's going down the string. Oh my god. It landed on me. That's so cute. And it fits. It fits so well because I was talking about Scorpio energy, you know. Okay, so this is Aries. And also, when you work with Mars, again, use red, use fire. Mars loves to have fire on his shrine. So always, if you can have candles or lamps or coals, burning coals or hot coals, that's also very good for Mars energy, for offerings. And you can use red crystals. Any red crystal works. Also metals. Aries in general rules metals. So in general. Now in particular, the metal for Aries is iron, but iron can easily catch rust. So it's better if you work with stainless steel, because stainless steel has a high amount of iron. It's the out of all the metals in stainless steel, iron is the biggest. The biggest percentage is of iron. So you have iron in stainless steel, and it doesn't catch rust. So when you work with Mars, if you wanna use offerings, which is very beautiful, you can place them on metal plates, and you can place the crystals on metal plates, and use fire as well. And obviously you can go a step further. You can chant Aries mantras in Sanskrit or use translations. or Mars mantras. You can work with versions of Mars throughout all mythologies, or one mythology in particular. So whether you're more attracted to Mars from Hindu mythology, his name is Skanda, as a god, and as a literal planet, his name is Mangala. And if you're attracted to Greek mythology, Aries, Roman mythology, Mars, and so on. And if you have karmic placements in Aries, or Mars is a karmic placement, this means that you had lifetimes where you've been a warrior of a different sort. So it'd be nice if you tap into that, because if you have strong Aries energy, it means you're supposed to be a warrior in this life as well. Alright. And if you have conjunctions, let's say you have Mars conjunct Mercury, you can use what I said about Mars and Aries energy and combine it with what I'm gonna say about Mercury and Gemini energy. Okay. So this was Aries and Mars. Praises to Mars and Aries. May we be blessed. Okay, Taurus now. This is interesting and I love it because I'm a woman and Taurus rules food. And it's a feminine side. Okay, so Taurus and the second house, food. And what I have here is honey. I have honey here. Honey is very powerful to use in magic, in medicine as well, but medicine is just another branch of magic. Okay, I could talk hours about honey, just honey, but it's not just about honey, like any kind of edible thing. You can use it for Taurus energy. Also, Taurus is ruled by Venus, so any kind of beauty thing, you can use it. And another thing, I think you can already hear the sound. Yeah, money. Money. And yes, put them in your left hand, because it's the hand with which you receive. If you're an Aries, or you have powerful masculine energy, or you're a man, you can also use the right hand for when you want to make money. So if you're a man, the right hand for money also works well. If you're a woman, it's the left hand. If you're a Gemini, it's both hands. Okay. So, I just heard a message now. It could be both for me and other people. Like, what I'm hearing is, if you've ever thought about divination with money, like coins, do it. It works. Okay. Alright, so for Taurus, by the way, you can have a shrine for one certain deity and or sign, or you can build shrines for all of them. Why not? More or less, well, not more, less, or better said, least for Saturn because he is Satan and we don't like that. So Capricorn energy and Saturn energy, not that much. They're not nice and ew. Now, if you're a Capricorn, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Saturn, okay? Saturn has a good side as well, and so does Capricorn, but it's very rare that people access that side. I'm gonna talk about that when I get to Capricorn. Okay. So if you really wanna go deep, you can have shrines for all of them and really work with all of these energies, all of these planetary deities and the signs in themselves, because the signs in themselves are living beings as well. They're just at another level, a far grander level, a more cosmic level. So their amplitude, their vast consciousness is way above other beings. So that's why I keep repeating, that's why I keep advising you to have an intimate relationship with them. And when I say intimate, I don't mean sex. I don't mean that kind of intimacy. I mean like spiritual intimacy. Okay, so for Taurus shrines and Venus shrines, but more particularly now I'm talking about Venus as per Taurus. And by the way, Taurus is ruled both by Venus and the moon. A lot of nowadays astrologers only think that Taurus is ruled only by Venus, but no, Taurus is ruled by both Venus and the moon. And the best argument for that is that, you know, Venus has nothing to do with family. The moon is all about family. Well, what does Taurus rule amongst other things is family, but family relations. And it's the family of origin, most important. Whereas the sign of the crab is the family that you build. Okay. So, for Taurus shrine, where you can have a shrine just for Taurus, or if you really want to honor these beings, you can have a shrine for Taurus and Venus and the moon all together. And this is very beautiful. And this is one of the most beautiful energies of the zodiac. If you have that shrine, if you build that shrine, and you allow these beings to come into your space, you will sense such a beautiful, beautiful, tender, feminine energy. It's beautiful and I love it. It's so beautiful and cozy and nice. And just this fact in itself, just building that shrine for Taurus and Venus and the moon, just by basking in that energy, it's a beautiful thing in itself, just doing that and just allowing yourself to feel that energy and just bask in that beautiful feminine energy. Okay. And you can work with them. And now their energy is a little bit different. It's not like Aries. Because what we saw for Aries, you know, Aries is active. Aries, it's a fire sign and it's a masculine sign, and arguably the most masculine sign of the whole zodiac. So, you know, whereas Taurus is one of the most feminine signs of the zodiac. I think it's particularly interesting how the zodiac starts with exact polarities. You know, we get the most masculine sign right away, and then we get one of the most feminine signs. It's interesting. Okay, so for Taurus energy, like I said, build the shrine, and when you offer things to Taurus and Venus and the moon, obviously food. This doesn't mean that you have to leave the food there. This is a certain practice that the Hindu people do, and I love it. So the practice is like this. You offer, so you have the shrine for the deity or deities, and you have the food, you offer the food to the deities, you put it on the shrine, and you leave it there for as long as you think it's right. And the thing is that the deity will bless the food. It's as if the deity would be there, alive with you. Let's say they'd be incarnate, and you offer them food, right? So it's a beautiful gesture. And you can do this with any deity, by the way. And if you don't have Taurus in your second house, you can do this type of offering practice with any of the signs you have in your second house. It's just a matter of understanding what foods would be more appropriate for that sign. So let's say you have Aries in your second house. Aries rules spicy food and just red food. Taurus rules any kind of food. Gemini, pizza is a very Gemini food. And salads and foods that are like really fast to make, and they have a lot of different things on them. For crab food, CRAB food, it's cooked food in general and very liquidy food like soups, and hot food like comfort food as well. For Leo second house, it's nice to offer expensive food, because Leo is all about that lifestyle, baby. And yellow food, and protein, and a lot of vitamins. And for Virgo second house, herbs. For Libra second house, fats work very well, but also very, like when I say fats, I mean like creams, like a milk and creamy cheese, and also all sorts of other creamy food, and pomegranate, but Libra is not that much about food. More for Libra, it's if you have a Libra second house, foods that keep you skinny, and help you stay beautiful. For Scorpio second house, it's a lot of Middle Eastern food like hummus, shawarma, tabbouleh, falafel. For Sagittarius second house, it's exotic food and food from all across the world. For Capricorn second house, it's no food, keep on fasting. It's all about reducing things. For Aquarius second house, again, fatty food, because air rules fatty foods, and like crazy recipes, maybe recipes that are very new recipes that are just invented, or you just invented a new recipe, stuff like that. For Pisces second house, a lot of sugar and sugary foods, carbohydrates, and even alcohol. So these are the kind of foods that you can offer on the shrine of your second house lord. and sign. And such a practice, it really keeps on the abundance. Like, it's basically food. It's the house of food, so you want to keep on having food. So, and then after you offer the food on the shrine and leave it there for a few moments, basically it's infused with the energy of that sign and deity, and it's like the deity blesses the food, and then you can eat that food with the blessings of the deity on it. And it's a very beautiful practice. And hold on, I'm getting a message. Okay, after you have done that, you can put your own intention in the food. And especially if you're into kitchen witchcraft or herbal witchcraft, you can sprinkle a few herbs on it, and with those herbs you can place the intention and just eat the food. And basically the intention goes inside of you. This is also something that the second house and Taurus energy are about. Things that go inside of you. I'm not talking about sexual things going inside of you. That's Scorpio energy. Taurus things and second house things that go inside of you is like things going through your mouth, inside of you. So whether we're talking about foods or liquids, you can use that for intentions. Now the affirmation for Taurus and the second house is I have money, I have wealth, I have a lot of food, I have a lot of friends, I have a beautiful life, I have a beautiful family, I have love in my life, I have whatever you want. And just as with any other sign, when you're writing your intentions, you can invoke the energy of the deity of the sign. So when you're writing your intentions, you can praise Venus through your intentions. You can start writing down the intentions, but first you can honor Venus. This is a very beautiful practice, and I advise you to do this. Before starting writing down your intentions, praise the deity. Praise the sign and the deity of the sign. So you can start with honoring Venus and the moon. So you can write such things as praise Venus, goddess of beauty, goddess of love, goddess of money, goddess of abundance, giver of wealth. And then you can write things down such as may she protect me, or if you really want to have a direct conversation, you can be like, may you protect me through this, and may you offer me, beloved goddess, this and this and this, whatever you want to manifest in that area of your life. If it's the second house, offer me money, food, may it be by your blessings that I receive these money, this food. I'm grateful for it. I receive it with grace, because Venus is also the goddess of grace. And so on. If you have Taurus, 8th house, this is for us Libra risings. The 8th house is the house of spirituality and spiritual practices and the occult, but it's also the house of other people's money. So it's your partner's money. So if you're a woman, you can use that if you're a woman and you have a husband. You see how beautiful it is. I was talking about Taurus and the affirmation for Taurus being I have, and I literally used it, like if you have a husband. So if you have a husband, you can use that for your Taurus manifestations. Since it's the 8th house, is basically your husband's money. So you can be like, I receive money from my beloved with grace and love and gratitude. And this works very well because we're Libra risings, also ruled by Venus. So she's the goddess of marriage. This works very beautiful for Libra risings because Venus is also the goddess of our rising sign, but also the goddess of our 8th house sign. And like I said, 8th house by extension also means that the money of your partner. So it's very beautiful to harness that energy since you have all of these nuances, all of these energies as Venus, goddess of marriage, ruler of your sign, also ruler of the 8th house. Okay, so I think by now you get the idea. You basically combine the nature of the sign and the deity with the nature of the house. Let's say you have Taurus 10th house. Praise Venus, goddess of beauty and wealth and pleasure. May I have that in my career. May she pave a beautiful path for me in my career. I am grateful to you, O goddess. You can use poetry in your manifestations, in your writings. This is very beautiful and very appreciated by the higher realms. And it's very creative. And actually, this is what magic is. It's art. It's a form of art. And that's what it should be. That's what it was supposed to be before it got corrupted by evil entities and it was transformed into black magic and all those ugly things. So with Venus, you can just all things beautiful, all things pleasurable. May it be so it is. Amen. Praise the goddess Venus. All right. And you can get creative. You can write your intentions on the paper, and then you can have a little bit of honey. Pour the honey on your paper that you wrote your intentions on, and the way you praise Venus and the Moon and Taurus. And then you can bury the paper in a pot for a plant you have in your house or in your garden. Or if you have access to earth, because Taurus is an earth sign. Now, one thing to note here is that Taurus is the slowest moving, second slowest moving energy of the zodiac. So these manifestations, sometimes it may take time for them to manifest, but the process of manifestation for Taurus energy and Taurus area of your life, it's a pleasurable process, unless you have bad influences in your horoscope. But by itself, it should be a pleasurable process. And if you have bad influences on that area of your life in your natural horoscope, in your birth chart, this is also a very beautiful practice to do, because you can anchor in more and more of those beautiful feminine energies of Venus and the Moon and Taurus, and they will pave the path of more easiness for you. Venus signs, we love easy things. We love easy processes. It's just Venus energy. It's things that go smoothly and naturally, as opposed to masculine energy, which is more through effort and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad. It's masculine. for me that's attractive. I love to see that in a man who really puts in the effort and puts in the practice and sweats for the things he you know. But for me, I love things to be easy. And this is Venus energy and feminine energy in general. Okay, so this has been Taurus. Taurus is not necessarily a fan of fire, so it's not a must that you use fire on the shrine of Taurus. Actually, it's best that you don't use fire on Taurus shrines unless you have Mars in Taurus or Jupiter in Taurus or the Sun in Taurus. At that point, especially with the Sun, use a lot of fire. But tame it. Not so. It depends. It depends on your placements. And if you want to contact me, if you want, if you don't know exactly how to go about this, you can contact me and we can coin certain practices according to your own birth chart that are particularly benefic for you based on your natural energies in your birth chart. Okay. Because let's say you have the Sun and Jupiter in Taurus. Well, you can use a lot of fire then. Like a lot of fire. But also a lot of earth. And Taurus earth energy is surface earth energy. So, like plants and fruits, vegetables, and also in terms of crystals. A lot of rose quartz. Taurus loves rose quartz and green crystals. Actually, I have a Taurus bracelet right here. So it's got rose quartz. It's got two types of green crystals. One is green agate and the other is aventurine. And this one is pink agate. And this one is lapis lazuli. A lot of people associate lapis lazuli with Taurus because Taurus rules the neck. I don't feel it that much. I don't feel lapis lazuli to be for Taurus that much. For me, it's more like for Gemini energy. But let's say you have Mercury in Taurus, then you can use lapis lazuli for Taurus energy. And by the way, when you build a shrine for a certain sign, you can build it for the sign and the ruling deities of the sign, such as in this case Venus and the Moon there. But if you want to go an extra mile, you can also anchor in the presence of the planets you have in that sign in your birth chart. So like I said, let's say you have Mercury in Taurus. You can also make Mercury present on on your shrine, and you can combine stuff, Taurus things with Mercurial things. And when you do this, the thing is that the sign is the basis, basically. So most, well, not necessarily most things, but first things you offer on the shrine are the things that are of the sign. And then you offer things of the planets. So with Mercury, that would be the paper you wrote your intentions on. You can also do combinations. But then again, if you have troubles with figuring out how that would go, you can contact me and we can coin practices for you, for your native energies. Okay. Now the next sign is Gemini. I'm a Gemini. I have a lot of Gemini placements and I love it. So for Gemini, writing down, I have 2 pens here. I have Venus in Gemini as well, and I love my pens and pencils to look very nice. One of them fell. And this one that I have is in a gradient of pink and gold, and it's quite nice because I have the Sun in Gemini and Venus in Gemini as well, so it is very nice, and it's a gradient. Gemini loves gradients, so does Libra, but Gemini most of all. Gemini loves to be eclectic. Also, feathers. I have a feather here, but this is actually for writing. And I have the ink for it here. So such things, you can use them. Like I said, especially if you have Venus in Gemini, like naturally you'd be drawn to beautiful things, like beautiful notebooks and beautiful pens and beautiful things to write with. And if you have the Sun in Gemini, you're drawn to sumptuous things of this nature. And also notebooks, books, notebooks, any kind of paper. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. Look at them, they're so beautiful. A lot of them. Oh, also, I forgot. For Taurus, if I talk about all of the things that a sign governs, I'm gonna make this video 12 hours long. But I want to go back to Taurus a little bit. The thing is that for Taurus, Taurus is also, Taurus in the 2nd house is also about positions on a general level, any kind of positions. And so when you want to manifest things in that area of your life, when you want to have more positions, that's the 2nd house, more money, more food, more abundance, more wealth. And also the 2nd house is your value system, what's valuable for you, and your family relations. So anything in anything of this nature, that's your 2nd house. Okay. Okay, so coming back to Gemini energy, they're so beautiful. I love them. I love them so much. I look so nice with them like this. Okay, so you see, this is what it means to have that kind of personal relationship with your native energies. Because I'm a Gemini and I just love these notebooks. I love them. I love them so much. And they're also very beautiful. I have Venus in Gemini. So if you have a similar placement, you can have such a notebook and write your intentions down in such a notebook. And this is also for 3rd house. So 3rd house is your thoughts, your mental intentions, to say so, your first house in Aries energy is your direct action, whereas Gemini and third house energy is your intentions, as like what you think. And that's also why Mercury is the ruler of magic, because magic is intention. That's why Mercury is the magician in tarot, and that's why Thoth is, you know, is another version of Mercury. And I suppose a lot of you know about Hermeticism. Well, Hermeticism comes from Hermes, which is the Greek name of Mercury. So he's the ruler of magic, because magic is very mental, but it's not that kind of mental that kills you. It's the mental that serves you. Okay, so when you build a shrine for Gemini and Mercury, this is so beautiful, I love it. Again, books, notebooks, and if you don't have other placements in Gemini, and Gemini energy is just Gemini energy for you, then the colors are green to blue. So anything from green to blue, probably even yellowish green, starting with yellowish green, going to blue. That's the color spectrum for Gemini. But Gemini also likes everything, so the whole rainbow is for Gemini. Especially if you have the sun in Gemini, yeah, the whole rainbow. Also, coming back to Taurus, the colors for Taurus are white, green, and pink. And as you can see, I'm wearing something very Taurus-like. It's a beautiful dress, it's very feminine, and it's white with green. And I'm wearing a Taurus bracelet because I am celebrating Taurus energy today. And I'm wearing silver. Well, I always wear silver, but I was talking about metals for Aries. Now, for Taurus, there's a combination of metals because Venus rules copper and the moon rules silver. So for Taurus, you can use either copper, either silver, but best use both. Now, for Gemini, quicksilver, but you cannot use that because it's dangerous. If you have the sun in Gemini, you can use gold. If you have the moon in Gemini, you can use silver. If you have Venus in Gemini, you can use copper. And if you have all three of them, you can use all three of them. But the thing of using gold, silver, and copper all together actually extends that, and that's a beautiful thing to do in itself, and it helps you a lot to anchor in the energies of all of these three metals. But that's another topic. Okay, so coming back to, do you see how I literally became more and more Gemini? Because Gemini is eclectic and talks about all sorts of different things. And when I was talking about Aries and Taurus, I kept the conversation at that. I kept the conversation at Aries and I kept the conversation at Taurus. But now that I'm talking about Gemini, I'm also going back to the other sides and I'm talking about multiple metals. And this is very Gemini. Gemini is very eclectic, and Gemini likes to incorporate everything, or almost everything. Gemini likes to have a taste of everything. So, there you go. for Gemini shrines, you have freedom. You have a lot of freedom. But there are trademarks for Gemini energy. Like I said, notebooks, books, pens, pencils, things that you write with and write on. And obviously, writing down your intentions for Gemini energy and third house energy, super powerful. As you saw by what I already said about the other signs and the practices with the other signs, writing down your intentions works very well with every practice for every sign, but particularly there where you have Gemini and where you have Mercury, and if you have a lot of Gemini placements in your chart, if you have strong Gemini energy, and by extension, air energy. Okay. So for third house, like I said, that's your thoughts and your mentality, and that basically extends to everything, because that impacts everything. The way you think is, what shapes your reality. It's what manifests the nature of your reality. So, also what you choose. So Aries and Gemini together shape your reality. And Mars and Mercury are actually good friends. So if you want to work with both of these guys for amplifying your energy and manifestations and spiritual practice, that's great. And working with the third house and with the Gemini energy, it's very important, because like I said, that's what shapes your reality. And the first three houses are the spring of your life, the starting point of your life. And that's why they're so important. They are the basis. So for the third house, depending on the sign you have in the third house, you can build the shrine for that. Let's say you have, again, I'm giving the example of a Libra rising. Sagittarius, third house. Well then, again, this is very eclectic. Sagittarius is multinational, multicultural, international, and intercultural. So the third house rules knowledge and the way you think and the information you the information that you are drawn to and the information that is drawn to you. So with the Sagittarius third house, all sorts of information comes your way from all sorts of cultures, and gratefully, if you have the moon there or the moon in Gemini, all sorts of time eras, and this is also very helpful. So for your third house shrine, and the day you celebrate your third house energy and or Gemini energy, knowledge is very important, knowledge sources, and even doing research on that day. Also learning new languages is very it's very Gemini-like, and new skills. Gemini rules the hands, so everything you do with your hands, that's Gemini. Any kind of craft, so you can offer on your shrine things that you literally made with your hands. It's not a must. Okay, and communication, any sort of communication, it's also Gemini and the third house. So if you want to manifest anything in terms of communication, whether what you communicate, how you communicate, or how other people communicate to you, that's the area of your life you have to look at. Also, the third house and Gemini, they're about small, spontaneous trips, and just spontaneity in general. And extremes, polar opposites, like masculine, feminine, hot, cold, any kind of opposite, any kind of duality. Sometimes, the area of your life that is Gemini ruled may present a lot of duality to you. And maybe if it tends to manifest in a more of a negative way, maybe in that area of your life where you have Gemini, you've always been drawn to both yes and no. So it might have been hard for you to make decisions in that area of your life. So it's very good to work with Mercury and work with Gemini in order to rectify that. Okay, so these are the things that Gemini and the third house rule. And for manifestations, you can use this energy to manifest anything. But most importantly, before you do that, look at the third house and look at where you have Gemini in order to understand your way of thinking and work with that in the first place. Honor Mercury and honor Gemini. And since Gemini is a very eclectic energy, it's best for you to look at what the sign of the twins meant throughout certain mythologies and culture and work with that as well. But essentially, just knowledge and thoughts and the power of the mind, your own conscious mind, which is such a liberator and such a powerful thing. So the third house and Gemini and Mercury are the keys of becoming a master of your own conscious power, which is great. Okay. I love this. And like I said, then you can use this by extension to manifest anything in your life. And the affirmation for Gemini is I think. I think in terms of abundance. I think in terms of wisdom. I think beautiful thoughts. I think thoughts that bring me money. I think thoughts that bring me beauty. I think thoughts that are pleasurable. I think whatever you want. And also, you have to look at how you speak. So, there are two things I want to say here. You can use the way you speak. You can use both written language and spoken language for Gemini magic. So you can write things down. Poetry is very beautiful. If you use poetry in your magical practices for Gemini energy, that's amazing. if you're into that. And also the way you speak. So you can write your intentions and then speak your intentions, preferably 3 times each. But also, I want to draw your attention to how you speak on a general level. Because, you see, humanity has been manipulated for so long and so much that today people speak things that are not of service to them and they don't even realize that. So, regardless of the times when you celebrate Gemini energy and build shrines to Mercury and Gemini energy, it's important to always look at the way you speak and see if you have patterns of speaking that are not in service to you. This is very important. And this can have many shapes depending on the language you speak and the culture you were brought up in. But also, like, what music are you listening to? What messages are you receiving? These are all Gemini things, and these are things that impact your mind. So everything that impacts your mind, you can work with Mercury and Gemini to purify that, to really bring that into a pure state of being. Gemini in itself, the most important dualities of Gemini is masculine and feminine. This is how the sign is known in Hindu mythology as the couple, where we have a male and a female. But in Greek mythology, we have 2 guys, twins, and that's why it's known as the sign of the twins. That's why it's called Gemini, because Gemini in Latin means twins. But the thing with these twins is that one of them stayed mortal, stayed human, and the other one became divine, became God. So you see that the depth of Gemini. Usually Gemini, you know, when we're speaking about Gemini, like, for most people, for the unawakened people, a lot of astrologers say that Gemini is one of the most superficial signs. But when you really look at it esoterically, it's actually one of the deepest signs. Because we have this amazing duality of human nature and divine nature present in this sign. So work with that. Work with Mercury in that way so that you can integrate both your human nature and divine nature to their best potential all together. May it be. Oh, and you can write this down as an intention in your practices. Blessed be Mercury, Lord of the mind, Lord of speech, Lord of thoughts, Lord of writing, and so on. May it be that through your will, Mercury, and through my practice, I purify my thoughts so that they serve me, so that they bring me good and goodness, so that they serve me into becoming my higher and highest self into this reality. Such affirmations. And this is so powerful. Okay. You can use fire on the Gemini shrine, but if you can, use symbols of air, such as, like I said, feathers. And if you can have something like this, like a quill, like mine, with a feather, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's really Gemini. And again, if here I have 2 feathers. Again, Gemini, it's 2. It's not just 1, it's 2. So for the Gemini shrine, because if you noticed, everything I showed you for Gemini, it's 2. Yeah? And these 2. And this 1, but with 2 feathers. Okay? And you have almost everything. You have the writing part, writing and knowledge and information and manifestation and intention. And then you have the lightness, the presence of air, the symbolism of air. Also the peacock feathers, that's also a symbol of knowledge and of sight, the eyes of the peacock, you know. But that's another topic. If you're not attracted to peacock feathers, any other feathers are great. Also, these are very great because they have green shades and blue. And like I said, this is Gemini. This is very Gemini. Blue ink. But like I said, with Gemini, all the rainbow works. And if you have multiple planets in Gemini, you can work with them. And when you honor Gemini energy and those placements, you can, let's say you have Venus in Gemini, you can use pink ink if you find pink ink. Or just any pen with pink ink. And for the sun, you can use yellow. And so on. For Mars, you can use red, and just so on. And also things such as the way you express yourself, the way you communicate, your throat chakra, and now if you want to use jewelry, you can use a lot of bracelets and rings, because Gemini rules the hands, the arms and the hands. You can also use necklaces as amulets, and even earrings where you can place certain stones and infuse them with intention. And something very interesting, if you can wear a blue robe when you work with Gemini and Mercury. If you have a blue robe, you can use that. It's really powerful. And also, not just because Gemini is attracted to this area of green to blue, but also because it's the color of the throat chakra, the blue chakra, which is the Gemini chakra. And blue is the frequency of truth and consciousness and thought. Again, versions of Mercury throughout different mythologies and knowledge traditions. You can work with each one you're attracted to. Ganesha as well is like amazing to work with for Gemini energy. Anubis, yeah, and all sorts of knowledge. Okay. And poetry for magical practices. And if you don't know how to do that, you can ask for help from the very spirit of Mercury and Gemini, and you can get better with time. Or you can just use mantras. Again, both written and spoken words are for Gemini, so mantras work very powerfully. Sound in itself is very powerful. Okay. Those of you who have siblings, third house is also the house of siblings. So if there's anything in relation to your siblings that you want to use or manifest, or you can manifest with your siblings, you can have like a little coven with your siblings. Okay, so that's it for Gemini. Now, crab energy. It's called Cancer, but I don't want to use that word for obvious reasons. I like to call it crab because that's it. It's the sign of the crab. Okay, so liquids. What I have here is a cup. Just any kind of liquids generally work very well for crab spells. It's the first water sign, so obviously water. Milk, it's the sign of the mother and the sign of the breasts. Milk also works very well for crab spells. And just any kind of liquids in general. Now, crab in itself also rules body liquids, not blood. Blood is ruled by Mars. But other sorts of body liquids, by extension, menstrual blood is also crab. But obviously don't use that. Unless, I mean, if you want to go a bit extreme, that's up to you. Okay, so crab in the fourth house. The sign in the house of the house, literally, the house you live in, your living space and your both your physical living space and your emotional space, and your emotions on a general level, family as well, your connection to your bloodline, your ancestors and your homeland, and your feeling of home and belonging. Also the feeling of security and stability. Both material stability and emotional stability. These are Cancerian things. And also the fourth house is the house of our foundation in life. And the thing is that for most people, and especially for men, the mother, so this is the sign of the mother. The mother builds your emotional foundation for the rest of your life. If you're a woman and you have dysfunctional relationship with your mother, it's a lot easier for you to tune into your emotions, because like it's natural for women. But for men, if they have terrible relationships with their mothers growing up, and all of those stupid tendencies that people have, to talk to their boys like, don't cry, crying is for girls, only a girl cries. And every time a boy shows any kind of emotion, they are taught to immediately suppress them because that's not manly. And all sorts of things like this, like suppressing your emotions and neglecting your emotions. And if your mother neglected you as a young boy, you learn to neglect your emotions as a grown-up man, which is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So if you have any kind of struggle in terms of understanding your emotions, or if you know anyone like that, introduce them to crab magical practices. And tuning into their emotions and understanding their emotions and their receptivity. And also, crab and the moon rule our intuition. So, also the subconscious, very, very powerfully. The subconscious. Now, the subconscious is built on patterns. Not entirely. The subconscious is vast. It's like an ocean. So the subconscious holds memory. The moon rules memory in astrology. So your subconscious mind holds the memory of you, who you are as a soul, and who you've been in past lives. You can tap into the collective subconscious, but that's a bit dangerous because it's kind of rotten nowadays. Keep yourself to yourself, basically, to your own subconscious. So it's very useful if you can combine the two energies, Gemini energy and crab energy, because crab energy is the subconscious mind, Gemini energy is the conscious mind. So together you have the superconscious mind, which is the union of the subconscious and the conscious. And when they are united, you become your higher self, basically. So that's why it's very powerful to work with both of these energies. This is regardless of the house you have Gemini and Crab in. Just working with Gemini and Crab energy, with Mercury and the Moon together, in order to align your conscious mind with your subconscious, so that because remember what I said about thoughts when talking about Gemini energy, and how some people, need to purify their thoughts. Well, basically, you need to purify your whole subconscious. For a lot of people, that takes lifetimes. And it can get even more intense when you go into traumas, but that's for Scorpio energy. For Crab energy, just the subconscious on a general level, and more importantly, the patterns that you learned when you were a baby, a young person, that you basically adopted from your family that may sabotage you. You can use a combination of Gemini Mercury energy with Crab and Moon energy in order to purify that, so that you can serve yourself, basically, so that you can liberate your subconscious mind from anything that you inherited that's not of your own. Okay. So working with your emotions, working with your intuition, amplifying your intuition is very crabby energy. And feminine deities, working with the moon, working with Gaia herself. The moon is part of Gaia. Literally, the moon at one point was part of Gaia, but Gaia spilled part of itself out because it couldn't tolerate the negativity built by humans throughout time. So she literally needed to spill some of it out. Yeah. And that's the moon. Some people say the moon will eventually unite back with Gaia once humans learn to heal their traumas and integrate more and more light into their being. So the moon will call, the earth will call back the moon back into herself. So this is interesting. And I keep repeating this in a lot of my teachings. The moon and Gaia are the same, and Gaia is crab. If we were on another planet and we had the sign of the crab in the zodiac, Gaia would be ruling that sign, or any equivalent of that sign. Maybe not the crab, but the lobster, something like that. But still the same energy. Gaia would be the ruler of that sign. Okay, so this is also the reason why the sign of the crab is so important for everybody. Well, all the signs of the zodiac are important for everybody because everyone has them in their birth chart, and you need to look at all of them and work with all of them. But the sign of the crab is particularly important because it's the sign of the earth, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. There's a reason why the ancients called her Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, and it's not just in Greek mythology. Also, Hindu mythology calls her Mother Earth, Bhumata. I just love the sound of that. So, a shrine for crab with the moon and with Gaia. Very beautiful. And just again, bask in that energy. Ask her to help you with your stability, with your groundedness, with being grounded into her energy, into her field, helping her and her helping you, mutual beneficial energy. Ask her to help you with your family, with you building a family and having successors, and also connecting to your bloodline, if that is good for you, if you have a good bloodline. If you don't have a good bloodline, ask crab energy and Gaia to help you purify that, purify your bloodline and the ancestral curses that might be present in your bloodline that you came here incarnate to purify, basically. And work with her so that you have stability in this lifetime, material stability and emotional stability. And you have a beautiful house and you have a beautiful home space, and you can feel at home on her, on Gaia, wherever you go, on Gaia. You can be at home because you're in communion with her, because she is the mother. She's not the cosmic mother, but she is the mother as of here. She is the mother of the mother archetype of the solar system, and the mother of humanity, because we are on her. And she loves humans so much. Well, she is the mother archetype. I mean, she's the mother goddess, so duh, she loves you. So you can work with her regardless of being a person with heavy crab energy or not. Just because you're a human, you can work with her very well. And she will be probably definitely out of all the planetary deities, she will be the one always ready to help you unconditionally, regardless of, certain things that other beings may take account of. And offerings to her are basically everything. And most of all, your love, because she is, the mother goddess and she loves you. So why not receive that love, have that love returned? Liquids, like I said, being the mother goddess and crab being the sign of the mother, milk is a good offering, and you can use milk to pour your manifestations into. Also work with your emotions and your subconscious if you need that. And if you have crab in any other house other than the 4th house, you can combine the nature of that house with the nature of crab so that you can manifest more blessings in that area of your life. But also healing. Whenever we're talking about water signs, we're talking about a lot of healing, especially with, actually with all of them. But with this energy in particular, it's the subconscious. And purging it from anything of the past and aligning your subconscious with your conscious, understanding your subconscious. That's why I say crab with Gemini, the moon and Gaia with Mercury. Fantastic. And you can offer her flowers, food. You can offer her just anything we have in this world, because everything we have in this world comes from her. But it'd be best if you offer her things that, are more according to her nature and the nature of the sign. So like I said, milk, food, just nourishment, things that are related to nourishment. And flowers, that's mostly it. And you can use water on her shrine as well. You work with the moon and the moon cycles if you're into that. Pay attention to the moon cycles very, very much. And when the moon goes through the sign of crab, that's a very beautiful time to work with this energy. But just in general, to pay attention to the movements of the moon. And also you can build a shrine for crab and Gaia and other mother goddesses. Okay. Next we have the sun. So the sun is the sun. It's the bridge between consciousness, between manifested world and divine consciousness, and the divine world, the spirit world. It's the supreme planetary entity. It's, well, basically, That's why we call it the solar system, because it's the system of the sun. And all souls that inhabit planets of the solar system, they descend from the sun. I'm not talking about star seeds here. Star seeds have their own suns. But if you're a human soul, or a Venus soul, or a Mars soul, or a Maldek soul, you are connected directly to this sun. So that's also very powerful. And you can honor him. But even if you're a star seed, you can honor him because he welcomed you. Also, this sun is a very high-ranking being throughout the cosmos. Even though it doesn't seem like it for us because of the state of humanity currently, which is so degraded. But this sun is Vishnu. This sun is literally the god who manifested, together with other gods, other deities, this universe. This universe is the cosmic incarnation of this god, who is also incarnate as this sun. Now, a lot of people in Hindu mythology say that he is the supreme being, but they say that exactly because of this. He's not the supreme being as in the prime creator, the primordial creator, that is Shiva and Parvati, Shiva and Kali. They are the one. Ardhana in Hinduism, that's their complete union, and that's the one being, primordial being. Vishnu comes from them. Vishnu is the first being to descend out of them, out of their union, their marriage, and their love for one another. So that's why he is so important. And he has a lot of qualities similar to the original divine masculine, so Shiva himself. And a lot of people will say that he is one with Shiva. He is, more or less, like, you can look at it that way. You can understand them as individual beings of their own, but also one being. And that's because we're talking about layers of existence that are so close to source that oneness and individuality go hand in hand. Because these beings of those layers of existence, they are the first beings to come out of the divine father and mother. So obviously they are one with the one. And Vishnu is, like I said, the first being to come out of them. So this is our sun. So work with him. Working with the sun is powerful regardless of horoscope magic. So whether you work for your horoscope for a particular area in your birth chart, or you just work with him simply because he is the sun and he is one of the most important deities. So honor him. And he's very beautiful as an energy. He's very loving. Well, all of them are. All of these deities are very loving. Because that's why they created so much. Okay. The sun rules gold. So working with gold. If you have, the way I do, I have Venus in the same sign as the Sun, and they're very close to one another. So if you have that kind of placement, Venus with the Sun close to one another, what I have here is copper plated with gold, with rose gold. So you can use this. Always, it's best if you get very, very specific. Okay. Other than gold, citrine is very useful for Leo and Sun energy, and basically, so this is the fifth house. The fifth house, Leo and the Sun. They rule life, joy for life, and everything that is pleasurable in life, but not in a Taurus way. Taurus also rules pleasure, but like more like sensory pleasure, like foods and liquids, things that we put into our mouth, music we listen to. So pleasure related to the senses, that's Taurus type of pleasure. Pleasure, just pleasure for life, pleasure for living your life, your hobbies, your passions, just joy for life. That's Leo. Having fun, playing games, even being childish, hobbies, passions, children as well. Having children, because that means creating life, which is Sun energy. Your fifth house is the house of your children. So whenever you want to manifest something, just working with the Sun, just like that, it's very helpful. But again, if you want to get more specific and look at your birth chart, see where the Sun is, what sign it is in. That's one of your primary signs, primary energies. And also you can use the Sun and Leo together. And look at your fifth house, what sign you have there. To manifest things like this that I talked about, just anything regarding your joy for life. And also more money, more wealth, and just luxury. The Sun and Leo love luxury, sumptuous things, luxurious things, and even opulence. The Sun is the sun, it shines, it's the brightest, the most visible. And also the Sun is the king. Leo is the sign of the king. So, even though some people may think that's silly or cheesy, you can literally wear a crown. Like, maybe not in public, but when you do spells, when you manifest things, you can wear a crown if you have one, and if you can make one out of gold, if you're so rich that you can commission one out of gold, go for it. Yellow crystals, also orange crystals are very good for Leo. Carnelian is also very good for Leo. If you can have a combination of citrine and carnelian, oh, that's great. That really brings in that energy of passions and pleasures in life. And you will, if you look at your birth chart, you'll see that the sign you have in your fifth house really describes the things that are like you're passionate about, very passionate about. um, and your hobbies, and where you find the ruler of your fifth house. That's also an area related to that. I think I'm gonna make this a two-part video because this is already 2 hours long. I knew it. I knew it is gonna take so long. One moment. Let me see. I was checking my battery. Maybe if I can speed things up a little bit, I can just cover it all in one video. Leo also rules the heart and the circulatory system, and your backbone. So if you have any kind of troubles with those areas, you can use the Sun and Leo energy to heal, and gold to heal, and citrine. And then again, for your own personal placements, you know, you have to look at that and really coin your practices according to that. Also, if you want to manifest a lot of wealth, you can use gold coins. If you can put your hands on a gold coin or commission one and use that in your manifestations, in your rituals, and put that on the shrine for Leo and the Sun, that's great. Okay. Virgo. Another earth sign. So, herbs. Dried up plants, flowers, basically natural medicine. This is Virgo. And natural purifiers. I have here Palo Santo. I love it. What I did here was very Taurus-like, because I was like, let me smell it. Okay, so Virgo and the 6th house. Work and service. Paying your karma through work and service. Giving to others, giving to society. Having an impact on society. Also, obsession with details. And health. Virgo and the 6th house rule health. That's why they also rule medicine, natural medicine, like I said, herbs, and healing plants on a general level. Order, being ordered, being organized, and planning, and also perfectionism. Numbers and mathematics, and the logical mind in service of organizing and analyzing, putting things into categories. This is Virgo and Virgo energy, and 6th house energy. Now, 6th house is not necessarily a place where you're obsessed with order. Virgo is the energy of being obsessed with order. The 6th house shares other traits with Virgo, like the ones that I said: health, service, work. So for Virgo energy, basically Virgo type of magic is any kind of herbal magic. So medicine, traditional medicine, and just using plants in your magical practices, knowing the plants, knowing the properties of the plants, and using them accordingly. Like I said, I'm gonna try to speed up things here because I want to end this video. Also, I will I will go again through the colors for each sign at the end of the video, just so you know. Virgo is another earthy sign, so if you wanna really do ceremonial magic where you really respect like everything, earthy colors, brown, tan, dark green, these are Virgo colors. And in terms of offerings to Virgo, things that are natural, only natural, and preferably very earthy. So let's say you offer things in a bowl. If you can have a coconut bowl, that's great. If you can have clay bowl or a clay plate, that's great. Because everything has to be earthy and natural so that it's conducive to healing and order and perfection, as Virgo likes. Okay. And the rulers for Virgo are Mercury and the North Node. This is something that, again, modern astrology doesn't teach, is oblivious of, but for Virgo is Mercury and the North Node, because Mercury alone is not obsessive. Virgo is obsessive with order, with perfection, with getting things done right. That's the North Node influence. Libra. And the 7th house. So I already mentioned a few of the qualities of Venus. So, and by extension Libra. Beauty, harmony, grace, justice, righteousness, and integrity. Relationships, marriage, legal union, one-on-one relations and communication, partnership, also in business, justice, fairness, equality, balance, symmetry, gentleness, grace, beauty, aesthetics, visual arts, basically beauty for the eyes, and also inner beauty, which is what I said, integrity, grace, elegance, diplomacy, tact, also graceful and tactful communication, and language. By the way, Libras tend to be kind of shy sometimes. And caring about the other person. Libra always thinks in terms of us. It's the opposite of Aries. Aries is me, Libra is us. And virtue. I want to point something out. The ancient Greeks described virtue as being the balance, the complete balance between two extremes, two opposing extremes. The middle ground, the perfect balance between them is virtue, is where you see virtue. And I love this description. And if you have imbalances in your birth chart, and if you have any kind of extremes that don't get along, work with Libra, work with Venus. Ask them to help you with this and help you integrate balance and harmony into your being and your field. Now, something very powerful for Libra energy and Libra manifestations, and something we use in beauty practices: mirrors. This is shaped like a heart and it's pink, which is very Libra. The colors for Libra are blue and pink, and also any kind of pastels. And just Libra loves to be elegant and feminine. And so this is a double mirror, and it's very useful because it's exactly according to air. Air is a dual element, so air loves duality. You see duality with Libra as well, because Libra is balance. So it's balance between two things, and it's the sign of the scales, you know, like two sides balanced out. Okay, so mirrors. You can use mirrors in your Libra manifestations, Libra practices. Also, something that people call beauty magic. You can use mirrors in those practices. Also, you can use mirror to help you look at yourself, especially if you're a Libra rising, or Sun, or Moon, or Venus Libra, or just generally. Mirrors are very, very powerful. Libra rules mirrors. And again, if you can have an even number, because that's air energy, duality. So, okay. And I just love the sound, you know, because you can be so dramatic with, you know. I also think that this is out of topic, but I think that this one is so ASMR when you do this. I love it. Okay, so beauty practices and beauty magic, but I repeat, it's not just physical beauty. Libra, this is what the nowadays world made of the notion of beauty. The ancients knew that beauty is not just external. The ancients, if they saw a woman who was just physically beautiful, but otherwise not, they wouldn't really consider her beautiful. If you look at the myths and Hindu myths, you will see descriptions of women that place a focus on both sides of beauty. External beauty, physical beauty, aesthetics, but also inner beauty, harmony, purity, virtue, honor, integrity, justice, fairness. I love this. Okay, so anything in this area, Libra. Also clothes and jewelry. So whatever you want to manifest for yourself, if you have strong Venus energy and Libra energy, you can infuse your jewelry with intentions, and you can wear that jewelry and just attract that. Also, Libra is another sign that attracts rather than makes. Crystals, again, Venus crystals, especially blue and rose crystals, a lot of quartz crystals, and yeah, just elegance, pure elegance. Also, the rose, and you can use rose oil, rose water, rose essential oils, You can combine rose essential oil with coconut oil and you get a very Libra combination. Coconut oil is very Venus. It's very gentle and it helps you a lot, helps your skin and your health. Okay. And just working with Venus is amazing. So building a shrine for Venus and Libra, you have to make it very beautiful. You have to, really make it nice. Offerings are mirrors like that, your hairbrushes, oils, scented oils, fragrances, essential oils, jewelry, everything beautiful, and symbols of air. And sometimes even the Sword of Justice is a very good offering on the shrine of Venus. And Libra and Venus energy is very good for working with relationships and justice in relationships. And marriage. Attracting a partner. The right partner. And if you're a woman, wear a dress when you're working with Venus. Especially when working with Venus and Libra. It's a must. Also, when you brush your hair, you can put intentions in your hair. Intentions of being beautiful, intentions of attracting things. But this also works well for first house magic, because the first house rules the hair. And once you get married, you can manifest with your partner. And when you perform the marriage ceremony, it'd be best if you have Venus present there, if you have a shrine of Venus and Libra there. And again, if you want to really be abundant and blessed, have a shrine of Venus and Libra and the sign and lords of your 7th houses. Okay. Scorpio energy and 8th house energy, anything that I mentioned previous to this, any kind of witchcraft, any kind of spell, any kind of magic is Scorpio. Scorpio rules magic, rules witches, rules the darkness, the occult, the hidden knowledge, the powerful knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and just spiritual practice in itself, and energy work, and the chakra system, and the non-physical body. What I have here are Scorpio crystals. You can work with that. So you see the color scheme for Scorpio is quite dark. It's black and red and dark red. Scorpio is ruled traditionally by Mars and the South Node, but in nowadays times it's ruled by Pluto. Working with Pluto, I really advise that. It's beautiful. Well, depends. It depends, but it's intense. I love it. And healing trauma, a lot of trauma. Carnelian is one of the best crystals for Scorpio. Obsidian, garnet, tarot, and just any kind of spell, any kind of magic, any kind of just spiritual practice, priesthood, but like real priesthood, not what the nowadays world made of it. So Scorpio, Pluto in the 8th house, the most intense energy of the zodiac, another water sign. For Scorpio, you can offer both water and fire on the shrine. Works wonders. It's the sign and energy of power and control, and also letting go of control, death, and the things that go beyond the veil, the underworld. In both meanings of the underworld, like the underworld literally, or your own underworld, both metaphorically and literally. And when I say literally, I mean your down there parts. It's the sign of transformation. Once you transmute something with Scorpio energy, it will never go back. It's forever transformed. Liberation by letting go. Whatever you have in your 8th house and wherever Scorpio is for you, that's what you will transform in this lifetime. Like entirely transform. And basically Scorpio is a two-edged sword, because Scorpio in the 8th house, whenever you come incarnate, you're asked to transmute that, to entirely transform that into light energies. Otherwise it will take you down. Otherwise it will get more and more intense and more dust and more darkness, more and more shadow. You will make more of it, more of the darkness there, if you don't work on it. Secrets and mysteries, dissection and detective work, both physically and metaphorically. Pregnancy, psychoanalysis and psychology, the energy of the body, the energy body, occult knowledge, the dark side, crisis and emotional stability or emotional security, chakras, tarot, magic, cartomancy, divination, runes, astrology, sacred practices, crystals, saging, you name it. Pain, trauma, abuse, predators, evildoers, dark forces, evil entities, corruption, rot, bacteria, fungi, decay, decompose, deconstruction, destruction. These are all keywords for this energy. Also, I said it, energy work. Other people's money for the 8th house. Partners' money. Other people's resources on a general level. And the way we receive from them. Inheritance, gifts, big gifts. And it's also the sign of both dark and white magicians. Also, the other symbol for the Scorpio, so Scorpio is the scorpion. The other symbol for this sign is the dove. So, you get it, we get both dark and white magic. Blood magic is also very much under Scorpio energy. But if you ever want to use that kind of magic, use your own blood, only your blood, only your blood. Because the gods, the just gods, will never tolerate that. People who use black blood magic, blood sacrifices, that's such a crime. And the best example of what comes to you if you do that is the story of the guy who started the Trojan War. Agamemnon, the Greek king who started the Trojan War. Basically, in order to win the war, he made a sacrifice to the gods, and he sacrificed his own daughter. He killed his own daughter to win a war that would make him the supreme king of all the Greeks. You can imagine what kind of person he was. So he won. But shortly, very shortly after the end of the war, he died as well. His wife killed him for killing their daughter. And I agree with this. I agree with what she did. Because you cannot kill your children. You cannot kill anyone for, such things. But especially your children. So his wife killed him in return. And that's a personal revenge, but also the divine revenge, the divine justice. Because you can never use someone else's blood. The gods will always have your blood in the end. They will give you what you want. But they will also have your blood by the end of it. So I agree with that. So all of these things that I mentioned for Scorpio energy and 8th house energy, whenever you want to manifest something in these areas, and especially healing, like deep healing, healing of traumas, deep traumas, either this life or trauma spanning lifetimes, you can use Scorpio and Pluto energy for that. It's intense, but it's effective. And the supreme embodiment of Scorpio energy is the very embodiment of everything, the Divine Mother. Her darkest version as Kali is supreme. And you can work with Kali for Scorpio practices, but good Scorpio good Scorpio practices, okay? Good. And again, this transformation from the scorpion and the poison to the dove, to beauty and grace and healing and lightness. It's beautiful. Also, Scorpio rules outrageous wealth. Just in case you want that. But then again, it all depends on your own placements. So, for Scorpio practices, like I said, anything goes. Any kind of ritual, any kind of magic, it's there because this is what Scorpio rules. Magic in itself. But for the light, do it for the light, for love. Okay. Sagittarius and the 9th house. This is a very beautiful house. This is the most optimistic and the house of biggest blessings you have in your birth chart. I have this crystal here that looks like Jupiter and I love it. And I also have citrine over here. So white, yellow crystals for Sagittarius. And well, if you have any other sign in the 9th house, use the color of that sign. So Sagittarius, Jupiter, and the 9th house. The energy of these guys: free spirit, impulsive, expansion, blessings, good luck, abundance. the higher mind, the big picture, faith, philosophy, spirituality, beliefs, teaching, guiding, guru figure or figures, education and higher learning, long travel, distant cultures and places, humanitarian spirit, high places, justice and law. Also, it is said that for a woman, Jupiter represents the husband and or the father figure. Also, pilgrims and pilgrimages are ruled by Sagittarius and the ninth house. So, any of these things pertain to that area of your life or those areas of your life, the ninth house and Sagittarius. The way you work with this is, again, writing down intentions, fire energy, but like this is the most mature fire energy and I love it. So it's just beautiful. I have to speed up the video now. I'm sorry for this. Working with this, dressed in yellow, dressed in white, cotton and linen. Well, cotton and linen are very good for almost all signs. Yellow, white candles are very useful here. Gold again, luxury again, and in terms of offerings, you can put like sacred scriptures on the shrine of your ninth house and Sagittarius and Jupiter, gold, yellow crystals, small fire like candles or oil lamps, but most of all what Jupiter wants from you is to really work on your spirituality and with your spirituality through those things that I mentioned. The affirmation for this is I believe. So whatever you want to manifest through this energy and in this area of your life, you can start with I believe. Also, you can work with this energy a lot while traveling, while even taking a walk, while having a walk, while traveling. I mentioned is the energy of pilgrimages and long distance travel. You can go to holy sites all across the world. It's also the energy for travel in general and knowledge of different cultures and different places. So if you want to have more of that, work with Jupiter and Sagittarius. And then again, if you have any kind of combination, any kind of other planets, adjust it according to those placements. But essentially, this is the best house in your horoscope, and it's the house of blessings, and the house, this is basically where God comes to you. So it's the most important house in the zodiac, more important than your first house. It's the most important. Work with this house and this energy. Oh, Capricorn, the most disgusting sign of all. And Saturn, the most disgusting planet of all. And the 10th house. The 10th house is not a bad house. It's just the sign in the planet. Okay. Again, I will mention the nature of the sign and the planet in the house, is the archetype of the father, the out front parent, the parent who teaches you how to deal with the world, with people, with society. It's the house of career, the house and the sign of career and business, social status, authority, restrictions, limitations, responsibilities, obstacles, hardship, delays, delayed gratification, work, priority settings, setting priorities, planning, governments and state apparatus, social rules, tradition, old age and longevity, persistence, endurance, social institutions and hierarchy, sober, serious nature and distant energy, authoritative, strict, rigid, maturity, most resistant to change, densest energy of the zodiac, long-lasting, legacy, what you leave behind, old-fashioned, ruins, ancient things and antiquity, respect, very grounded energy, norms and regulations, discipline, rules and the ruling class, social classes, systems, pyramidal systems, money and investing them, cold and realistic view and approach to life. Okay, so this is the realm of Capricorn. It's the hardest to work with. So yeah, don't beat yourself too hard if you have trouble here. That's what it is about. It is about trouble. It is about obstacles. It is about challenges. It takes time. I don't usually work with Saturn for obvious reasons. I do place some symbolism of Saturn when I honor Capricorn energy, just because it seems fair, because he's there in the skies and he rules Capricorn, but he's disgusting and I don't like him. Now, if you're a Capricorn rising, the story may be different, or if you're Aquarius, because he also rules Aquarius in traditional astrology. But I don't really think he is a trustworthy guy. But if you're attracted to him, go ahead, you can work with the higher polarity of Saturn. We need more people like that. We need more people to anchor in that version of Saturn in this reality, in this human reality. So if you are one of those people and you are comfortable working with the devil in a just and honorable way, go ahead. Because he is the devil in his fallen form. He literally is. But he also has some qualities that... The thing with him is that he's a fallen entity in need of redemption. That's exactly why he is placed in the solar system with the attributes that he has. So he is there to redeem himself. That's why he's the Lord of Karma. He is that being. Lucife fucking R. Fuck him. I detest him. But if you can anchor in more light versions of him, the redeemed and redeeming energy of Saturn, go ahead. Just be careful not to be fooled. Because he rules demons. And he is affiliated with demons. On Saturdays, the days of Saturn, I think about demons, and don't think about demons any other day unless I read about them and I speak about how to spot them and how to go against them. But on Saturdays, like, thoughts of demons just appear. And it's because of him. So he's part of the bad guys. Just be careful with that energy. Do not be fooled. Anchor in, again, I repeat, but anchor in the redeemed version of Saturn. The Saturn version of Saturn, basically. Okay. Aquarius, Uranus, and the 11th house. I want to go back to Capricorn a bit. For Capricorn, work with salt. Yeah, it's the sign of the goat. What does the goat do? It climbs the mountain to reach the top. This is exactly what Capricorn energy is about, going through all of that hardship for the top. And the goats climb the mountain because on the mountain they find a lot of salt and they need those minerals in that salt. One moment. Okay. So work with salt. Salt is a purifying agent. You need it. Salt salt is associated with the sign of Capricorn and earth signs in general. But salt in itself is a very powerful spiritual tool that acts as a purifier. I suppose you heard about those practices, like having a circle of salt around you to protect you, stuff like that. So you can put salt in your food, you can put salt in your spells, but yeah, salt is very useful. Rocks are very useful in Capricornian magic. And when you work with rocks, you can bring in the energy of the rocks. I know it sounds a bit weird, but what I mean is like the endurance, the stability, and the patience. These are Capricornian attributes that you need in order to overcome Capricornian obstacles and blockages. Also, where you have Saturn in your birth chart is where you will have to wait a lot for things to come to you, for things to come into fruition. So brace yourself for that. As I said, I don't really advise working with Saturn himself, but working with Capricorn may be more useful. And more or less. But integrating Capricornian qualities, that's good. Integrating maturity, being serious, being stable, being responsible. I love these qualities. So obviously, integrate these qualities, have more and more of these qualities, and the more you have of them, you will notice that the easier it is to overcome Capricornian challenges, and the more and more they go away. Also, the more virtuous you are and the more honorable of a person you are, the more the easier life gets, obviously. So you can use Capricorn energy for that. Also, I can teach you how to break the harshness of Saturn placements and oppositions. The opposition is the aspect of Saturn. So I can teach you how to break the oppositions depending on other placements in your charts. So if you're interested in that, again, you can contact me to work with your birth chart and discover practices that make your life more beautiful. Okay. Now, I want to add another thing. Capricorn and Saturn are very masculine. And the devil hates feminine things, feminine energy. That's also why I hate him. But if you're a guy, it's a lot... It's different. Working with Saturn and Capricorn is a bit different for guys. So you have a lot more chances of not being detested. Okay. Aquarius energy, the 11th house. Now, like I said, in ancient astrology, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn. A lot of nowadays astrologers only say that, but it wasn't just Saturn. It was Saturn and the North Node. Again, I can give you arguments for that. One important argument is that whenever you look at your Saturn placement in your birth chart, always that placement has Capricornian attributes, never Aquarius attributes. I have never seen a Saturn placement to have the attributes of rebellion, of freedom, of innovation, which are Aquarius attributes. Always Saturn placements are restrictive, limiting, waiting, struggling, hardship, blockages. You have to mature through that part of your life. You have to be very, very patient there. Struggles, limitations, limitations, limitations. That's Capricorn. Never have I seen a Saturn placement by itself manifest Aquarius qualities. So there you go. Aquarius was ruled in ancient times by Saturn because they didn't have access to telescopes. And it was the conjunction, the combined nature of Saturn and the North Node that ruled Aquarius. Because the North Node is about innovation. It's about breaking free of old things. Always moving forward. Always pushing for new things and more and more and more. And the North Node is an energy of me doing things my way, doing things how I want, and I don't really care. Which is very Aquarius. Okay. So, Aquarius energy, keywords for Aquarius energy: astrology, science, innovation, progress, rebellion, revolution, sudden change. Again, remember, Capricorn is the most resistant to change. Aquarius is sudden change. Shock, truth, being different, dissident, fun, having fun, crazy fun, hopes and wishes, friends and groups, communities of like-minded people, networking, everyone equal, equal treatment, objectivity, distant. This is one common quality of the two signs. Able to take a step back to analyze, rational, scientific, new, invention, humanitarian, windfalls. that's kind of it. Did I mention technology? So any kind of technology, any kind of groundbreaking technology, this is Aquarius. So whenever you need liberation, but like not Scorpio kind of liberation, Aquarius type of liberation, just like being free, you can anchor in Aquarius energy and work with Uranus for that. This is also the age of Aquarius, so it's important that we all work with Aquarius and bring in more and more and more of those energies. And also the 11th house is another house of money and windfalls from your career, because it comes right after the 10th house, which is the house of career. It's also the house of the future, hopes and wishes, whatever you see for yourself in the future, your dreams. So when you want to work on that, your vision for the future, work with Aquarius, work with Uranus. And again, the Lord and sign of your 11th house. And an affirmation for Aquarius is, just like for Gemini, I think. And again, just a sense of freedom and genius consciousness. So these are things, Aquarian things. Also, when you want to offer things to Aquarius and Uranus, these guys like man-made things, technology, innovation, things that you use your mind for in order to create. So it's not feminine creation. It's not a creation that comes naturally, organically. It's a creation that comes through the mind. And sometimes it can be artificial a bit. I don't advise working with that. But one example of such man-made things, you see, this is clear quartz. This is also clear quartz, but it's a clear quartz that was electrocuted. And it's got all of these colors because of that. Aquarius rules electricity and the nowadays, the future and the nowadays. So fast communication, fast movement, fast travel, fast change, just fast things, and technology, access to information, access to truth, being able to express your truth, being able to rebel and to change the system, and all of those things that we need today. That's Aquarius. So you can offer such crystals on the Aquarius shrine. You can work on technology, honoring Aquarius through that, and Uranus. I'm not into that, but I have seen a lot of guys into that, and obviously it's in your nature, because like guys are more attracted to that. I don't know, things like that kind of coil that Nikola Tesla used, and just building technological stuff. You can use that and put that on your Aquarius shrine if you are into that. I prefer to work with Aquarius energy more internally, more in terms of the mind, and astrology, obviously, putting depictions of the sky, of the stars on your Aquarius shrine, asking Uranus to grant you access to cosmic knowledge is great. So all of these things are amazing. And of course, you can go more in depth. I kind of have to speed up the video now, so I'm talking less about these signs right now. Finally, Pisces. Pisces ruled by Neptune and the 12th house. I love this. This is amazing. Keywords: sleep, dreams, rest, visions, self-sacrifice, unconditional love, Christianity, true Christianity, not the fake thing, okay? Communication with the other side, the spirit world, beyond the veil, the archetype of the mystic, altered states of consciousness, meditation, spirituality, imagination, going away, dreaming of otherworldly realms. Parentheses, human nowadays psychology, that type of psychology that doesn't fully understand spirituality. These psychologists say that you cannot dream of things that you haven't seen. I do. I haven't seen those things in this lifetime, but I dream of a lot of undescribable things because I have seen those worlds in other lifetimes and other planets. So, yeah. A dissolving energy has no boundaries. It's the ocean, very sensitive, the subconscious as well, the behind the scenes, an energy sponge, yeah. Isolation, dreamy personality, hidden enemies, memory and forgetting or forgetfulness, divine art and music, divine inspiration, otherworldly creativity, channelers, clairvoyants, basically all the clairs, mediums, energy readers, psychics, monks, yogis, retreated people. It's basically an energy of little physical energy, feeling low, needing rest, healing and healers, doctors, temples, churches, holy places, holy sites, illusions, lies, movies, confusion, being, feeling lost, mistakes, alcohol, drugs, disillusionment, disappointment, renouncing the material world, and communing with the divine, with God. Nostalgic, the feeling of missing, losing things, losing stuff, spending a lot, carefree attitude, living in the moment, maybe needy sometimes, needing help or care, out of this world, mental states, losing consciousness, transcending, multi-dimensionality. So these are keywords of Piscean energy and the 12th house. As you saw, there are some of these that are very low, like maybe things that someone needs to work with, like addictions and alcohol and drugs, confusion, being lost, feeling lost, all of that. These are things of the low polarity of Neptune and Pisces energy and the 12th house, but the high polarity of Neptune and Pisces is very beautiful. It's communing with the divine, it's unconditional love. Sometimes it can go as far as having so much love for other beings that you sacrifice yourself for them, which is what Christ did. That's why Pisces rules Christianity, and also Christ came incarnate at the beginning of the age of Pisces. So that's, he did all of that in the age of Pisces because that's when it needed to be done. So communication with the spirit world and things that transcend the material world. Also the high polarity of Neptune is to break boundaries, but not in the bad way, like not breaking the boundaries of people so that you can cross over them. No, like break limitations. That's why it's the sign of miracles and miracle makers. So it's very beautiful. It's the sign of spirituality in itself. And it's the sign of the ocean, both physically and symbolically. Traditionally, it was ruled by Jupiter in the south node. Nowadays, it's Neptune. So, having a shrine for Pisces and Neptune, anything spiritual and possibly even Christian, but again, I repeat, true Christian, not official kind of Christian. And you can work with these energies, and just like with crab energy, you can use a combination of Pisces and Aquarius energy in order to help with feelings of being lost that Pisces can bring sometimes. And I do advise a union of Aquarius and Piscean energy, because sometimes Pisces energy and Neptune energy, when it goes too far and it's kind of unchecked, it can make you lose your sense of reality. And Aquarius keeps your sense of reality. Aquarius helps you see the truth. And as you saw, Pisces is also the sign of hidden enemies and betrayal. So, and confusion and lies and manipulation. Aquarius helps with that. Aquarius is the sign of truth. So you can use Aquarius energy to counteract the bad manifestations of Pisces energy. But beautifully, you can also use the beautiful manifestations of Pisces energy to counteract the unwanted energy of Aquarius, which is synthetic stuff and man-made stuff, and the emphasis of science with no God and stuff like that. Just an artificial world, basically. A world rooted too much in reason and no feeling. So working with these two energies, Aquarius and Pisces, together in order to complete one another is a very beautiful thing to do, just like with Gemini and Crab helping one another. Okay, and for Pisces energy, again, water, it's a water sign, but the yoga is also very beautiful practice for Pisces energy. Meditation, transcending human consciousness, amplifying your intuition, amplifying your clairs. But before you do all of that, go through the others, go through the other signs, and make sure you integrate Libra, Sagittarius, and Capricorn energy so that you are honorable, virtuous, and righteous. Only then can you access the highest manifestation of Pisces energy. And also Pisces is healing, and anything you've gone through in the past, and traumas and hurt and pain you collected throughout lifetimes, you can heal that with Pisces energy. And those of you who are into prayer, you can use prayer for Pisces energy, because Pisces is kind of an energy of please help me. And that's kind of like how prayer is like. But you know, with Neptune, you don't even need to write your intentions down, unless your intentions go a bit more towards the material world. Let's say you have Pisces in a more material house, like the 2nd house or the 10th house. But when we're talking about Neptune alone, Pisces alone, and the 12th house, just working with those energies and basking in those energies and really feeling them and integrating the love and allowing divine consciousness to pour itself onto you, that's Pisces practice. Amethyst is a very good crystal for Pisces. I love it. You can use amethyst on your like close to your bed in order to have nice sleep, a nice rest. You can use amethyst for manifestation, for meditation as well. And amethyst is a stone that helps you anchor in Christ consciousness and Christ love. I love it. And also music, like very beautiful music, divine music, devotion to the divine. It's very Piscean. So tarot reading can also fall into Pisces area, but like the really supreme Pisces energy is, like I said, really communing in depth with the spirit world. It's amazing. And with divinity and divine love and Christ. So this has been the video. For more details and, like I said, more personal approaches of magic practices according to your own personal chart, you can contact me. We can take a look at your chart and see what kind of practices are best for you in regards to whatever area of your life you want to work with, or if you want to work with all of them. But of course, we have to take everything step by step in that case. I love you and I thank you for being incarnate at this time in this world. And like I said, anchoring in more and more light and more beauty in this world, because it's needed. I love you.